What's up, guys? Neil over there taking a look at the Stokastic NFL DFS lineup generator for Monday Night Football between the Chargers and the Cowboys. In this video, I'm only going to be looking at lineups on FanDuel. If you're looking for DraftKings lineups, that's another video. I've already published that on the Stokastic YouTube channel. If you want to see these videos in the same place, let me know in the comments, or if you prefer having them separated out, let me know that as well. I'll factor that in. I'm trying something new this week where I'm separating out FanDuel from DraftKings. But if you don't like it, just let me know and I can change it up. By the way, while you're coming in, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification button so you can get alerts when our shows go live. And of course, if you haven't signed up for the lineup generator, again, you can get lineups for the main slate and every primetime showdown slate in the lineup generator. Fantastic tool. And you get them for both DraftKings and FanDuel for just $14.95 per week. You're getting all of these for just $14.95 per week. And again, you're only getting plus EV long-term profitable lineups in the lineup generator. They've been run through the Stokastic Sims. Any lineup that was not long-term profitable was just thrown out. You're not going to see that here. All right, let's take a look at some FanDuel single game lineups. And I'm just going to look at the contrarian lineups. The way I like to play is to build lineups that are not going to be duplicated a ton. So to find lineups that are not going to be duplicated a ton, I think that I want to look at just contrarian lineups on FanDuel. And I'm going to use standard projections here, but you can choose. If you believe that a certain game script is going to happen, you can choose different game scripts. You can see all the different options here. But I'm just going to look at the standard projections for this one, and I'm going to go until I find 3 lineups that I would play in the large field GPP on FanDuel. All right, so first lineup we see here, I'm not even going to look at it. It's only leaving 1,000 on the table. I think I want to leave at least 1,500 to avoid being duped, unless it's getting super unique somewhere. This one actually, I mean, with Michael Gallup in the MVP spot, it could qualify. This one might not be duped a ton. I think that I would just, as a general rule, I'd like to leave at least 1,500 on the table. So I'm not going to use this one, but this one actually might be viable just because Michael Gallup in the MVP spot is going to be fairly contrarian, just 2% owned. I don't think I would use it though. All right, now this one, this is a very, we're leaving 8,000 on the table in this one. That is interesting. We have Dak Prescott in the MVP spot. And when I have a quarterback in the MVP spot, I typically prefer to have multiple pass catchers in the flex. But that's a rule that I take more seriously on DraftKings than on FanDuel, because on FanDuel, first of all, you only get 5 players. Second of all, the receiver doesn't outscore the quarterback by quite as much because it's only half point per reception instead of full point per reception. So it's a little bit more viable to have a quarterback with fewer pairings on FanDuel. But this one, that's not a concern because we've got Dak Prescott in the MVP spot. We've got multiple pass catchers. We've got Brandon Cooks in here and Jake Ferguson. We also have Tony Pollard, who I think can qualify as a pass catcher for this slate. So we've got loaded up Dak Prescott MVP here. And then we have just Cameron Dicker coming back from the Chargers. Here we're leaving, as I said, 8,000 on the table. So Cameron Dicker literally needs to be the highest scoring player on the Chargers, but there's a lot of ways that can happen. They just don't score any touchdowns, maybe kick 5 field goals in the game. Dicker could very easily be the top scoring player for the Chargers. So definitely viable. Love that this one leaves 8,000 on the table. This looks like a lineup that is going to be unique and honestly pretty strong players across the board. I have no concerns about the projection for this one. So I like this lineup quite a bit. There's one that I would use right away. This one we're using the full salary. I'm not going to use it. This just does not look like the kind of lineup that is going to be unique enough for me. We are using a low-owned Josh Kelly here, but because we're using the full salary cap, I don't think that this is going to be an extremely unique lineup. I could be wrong. This one, might not be duped a ton, but I'd rather just leave a little bit more salary on the table to ensure that it's not going to be duped a ton. Again, only leaving 500 on the table. Don't think I would use this one. It is getting unique. So these lineups are all getting unique in their own way, using unique players here. But I'd prefer to get unique by leaving salary on the table. I think that's the best way to avoid being duplicated. This one with both Aubrey in the MVP and having Tolbert in the lineup might be viable, might not be duped a ton, but I also don't think the projection, maybe it does project. I mean, all these lineups project pretty well if they're in the lineup generator, but I don't think I would use this one. Not going to use this one, only leaving 1,000 on the table. I'm just going to save until I get to one that leaves a little bit more on the table. All right, this one leaves 1,500 on the table. Taking a look at it, we have Justin Herbert in the MVP spot with just Gerald Everett. Again, I think that's viable. Just one pass catcher in the flex on FanDuel in particular. And then we got Dak Prescott with both CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. I think this one will be duped a lot, to be honest. Even though it's leaving 1,500 on the table, I don't think this one is quite unique enough for me. I don't think I would use this one. So still just one so far on FanDuel. Not going to use this one, doesn't leave enough. All right, Justin Herbert with Gerald Everett. Now we have Dak Prescott with 2 running backs. That's pretty interesting here. This one does look pretty unique. I'm trying to decide if I think this is okay, having Dak Prescott with his only pass catchers are both the running backs. I think it's probably viable. I think this one will be relatively unique, leaving 3,000 on the table. And I think that there are ways for this one to work out. I mean, Dak Prescott runs a little bit. He could score a short touchdown on the ground. So that could happen. We could get plenty of yards from Dowdle and Pollard. And certainly Prescott, if Prescott the ideal situation is Prescott throws a touchdown to each of Dowdle and Pollard, which I think is possible. So honestly, I think that I would use this lineup. I think this is viable. So I would use this one, my favorite lineup so far. This one uses a full salary. All right, now we've got Justin Herbert with Josh Palmer. So again, just one pass catcher in the flex. Now we've got Dak Prescott with Brandon Cooks and Jake Ferguson. This is my new favorite lineup that we've seen so far. This one just looks really strong. It's got Justin Herbert with a pass catcher, Dak Prescott with 2 pass catchers. All of these are viable. We're leaving a 4,500 on the table, so you're going to need all these players to outscore whoever is within 4,500 of them in terms of salary for this to be optimal. But I think it's plausible. I think that Josh Palmer had 8 targets in the most recent game. If he just happens to be the Chargers receiver who scores a touchdown, he could outscore Keenan Allen, all the other Chargers receivers, and similarly, Ferguson, Cooks, particularly on FanDuel where it's half point per reception. The touchdowns matter more than receptions on FanDuel relative to DraftKings. So I like it. I would use this lineup. There's 2 that I would use. This one uses a full salary. All right, this one leaves 2,000 on the table. We have Keenan Allen in the MVP spot with Justin Herbert. We also have Josh Palmer here. And then we have our Cowboys, our Jake Ferguson and Rico Dowdle. I think it's viable. I think that this is a lineup that I would use. I like that we have Allen and Herbert paired. We're leaving 2,000 on the table. I don't have any concerns about the correlations with the quarterbacks here because again, we have Herbert with Allen and Josh Palmer. Looks good to me. I have no qualms with this lineup. I think it is a very strong lineup. So there is a third lineup that I would use on FanDuel. Now I'm just going to go through and save the rest of the lineups to look at our exposures at the end. Looks like it allowed me to do 40 lineups again. Yep, so we're getting 20 bonus lineups here in this set. Now let's take a look at our exposures. We got 75% Justin Herbert. Love to see that. 62% Dak Prescott. No surprise there. The quarterbacks are they project the best on the slate. You're going to get to a lot of them. Tony Pollard, 57% against that Chargers run defense. Going to look really strong. Not a huge surprise there. And then a big drop off after those top 3 down to 38% Keenan Allen, 30% Quentin Johnston, 30% Brandon Aubrey. We're pretty spread out after those top players, which is not a huge surprise. We're getting to the guys who project the best, the most, and then we're mixing it up with some lower owned plays throughout the lineups. Looks like a very strong lineup set. Happy to find several lineups that I like in the contrarian box there. If you want to check out the lineup generator for yourself, you can find the link in the description of this video. Again, it's just $14.95 per week, and that includes all of the DraftKings and FanDuel lineups for both Showdown primetime slates and also main slates. So you're getting a lot for just $14.95 per week. Check it out. Link in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck tonight.